I'm just going to touch a little bit on analytics. So this is kind of the left brain numbers type that comes into marketing, but it's really not too complicated, too left brain, too numbers orientated, if you use our suggestions of the toolkit that we are presenting today. Basically, this answers the question, how is your brand doing out there? So the panelists have given excellent recommendations of what to do, how to improve, how to show it better, how to message better. So now that that's done, and when you're implementing these various things, you can also spend time wondering and asking, how is your brand doing out there? And it's quite easy to be able to see how your brand's doing out there in this analytics that we do. Our brand is out there. Once your brand's out there, analytics, yes, gives you these insights. It easily helps you see if your brand is working and what messaging is working. And so maybe this isn't working, then you try this. Then this isn't maybe working, tweak that. This is working, so enhance that. So it's really just giving you these insights to then be able to make changes very quickly and make your tweaks, and then go on to improving your marketing and your branding as you go through the months. So I'm just going to quickly cover what, when, why, and how the analytics is all about. So as I said, the what is really to be able to give you insights into how your brand is doing out there. It really is something that you can see real time what's happening with your brand out there, so that you can quickly make a change or make an improvement on your branding. And yes, then you can then become a better marketer, and you can get your brand to become a better brand. And when we look at the when word there, when we encourage you to do this on the 1st or 2nd of every month, and you look back at the month before. So this gives it quite recent data that you can then change for the next month. And then we did mention this, but why should you be doing this? Why should you have this in your toolkit? It really is helping you to see what your brand is doing out there, to benchmark it, and then to see if you're going to reach your targets that you set for your brand or your company every year. And then I'm just going to go into a bit more detail of the how. How do you use analytics to be able to improve your brand? So quickly here, there's just a little summary of analytics, and analytics is really just a fancy word for checking or seeing. So don't get bogged down by the word analytics. It's really Google checking, LinkedIn checking, measuring, and then responding accordingly. So some of the time we do this for clients, depending on what channel they use. So Google Analytics, LinkedIn Analytics, newsletter analytics. For example, if you use Mailchimp and you send out a newsletter, you really want to know and see how many people opened the newsletter, how many people unsubscribed, so that you can then make a tweak to make your message the next time around more effective. YouTube Analytics, you can also see how many people view your clip, how long do they view it for, and you really do start getting these key insights into your brand. PR Analytics is really just monitoring the media, seeing how your brand is being positioned out there, what media are saying about your company, etc. So it's good to also just have that as your analytics that you do, etc., etc. So in all other channels, you can do analytics, whichever channel you are using. This is just an example of the Google Analytics when you log in. So let's say this is your company, and let's say you have done a search for the 1st of June to the 30th of June. So this will show you on which, or let's say 1st of October rather, to 30th of October. Oh wow, on the 2nd of October you got 100 visitors. Wow, it dropped down on the 10th of October to 2 or 3. And then you can see on your calendar, oh wow, but that was a Sunday, that makes sense. Oh, but when we spiked, that was because we had a campaign out. So you could really just see the impact of your messaging and your branding because it's having an effect on people visiting your website. So this is, for example, saying in the month of October, there were 1,100 people that came onto your website. They came on 1,395 times, so each user came on maybe 1.016 on average. The every user came on 1.24 times. They viewed in total 4,000 of your pages. They were on for 2 minutes and 8 seconds, and 45% bounced. So these are key analytics to be able to see and then make changes accordingly. So we recommend in your toolkit or for your company to have this, to do these analytics quite often, and then just to do a one-page report. You don't want to get bogged down by data, and you don't want to just print reports upon reports. We really see that it's a one-pager, and under each heading, so under Google Analytics, under LinkedIn Analytics, what's the big insight from last month? What's the behavior we're seeing on our clients for last month? What's the key insights that we are seeing? Are we reaching our targets? And then let's make suggestions for this month based on this data. So this one or two pager is quite a good report that is digestible, and then you can make changes quite easily. So I just want to show you an example of one that you can do. For example, I use Google Analytics, and this is just an example. For example, the big insight that we saw for one of the clients in the month of June, we expected more visits to their site because we launched a new product on the 29th of June. But then that made sense that there weren't that many because it was still getting out there. So definitely the visits in this month should be really high. So that was a big an insight that's quite interesting to look at. Then behavior. So for example, these are the people that came on, where they came from. You can see so much data in these analytics. For example, 2,000 of them were from Germany. 1,000 of them were from Spain, etc., etc. So you can see if it's the target market you want. Are they coming onto your website? An insight that we had for this one client, there were no broken links. So that was good, because the month before there were many broken links because their URLs for some of the connections weren't working so well. So you definitely don't want somebody to go on, a potential client, click on something, and then they can't get through to it and it says error. So you definitely don't want any broken links on your website. And then, for example, on this client, they had targets. We wanted 2,000 visits, visiting 1.5 times each. So we wanted 3,000 visits, and 5,000 pages were visited a month. And as we can see from the behavior, we are nearly there. So that's quite interesting and good to see, because obviously you're going to have separate your own targets for every medium. You definitely want to have targets to see if you're achieving them, and if you're not, and how to change. And then for this particular client, because their bounce rate was so high, over, I think it was 43%, the way to look at that in the month of July was to reduce the information on their website. Their homepage had so much information. Reduce the info, add a call to action so that people coming onto the website don't think, oh, this is not a great site, and bounce off. You want them to look and spend time on it. So that was an immediate change that we could do just from the data that we saw from these insights. And as I said, there's many reports you can generate, and you can see different things. So for you that are on this webinar, all 99 of you, I suggest that you take these 8 next steps. So this is in your toolkit for you as a marketer, or as a company, or somebody who was really trying to elevate your brand. Send your web host your Gmail address and ask them to set up an analytics tab for you. Then log into Google Analytics and learn. It's quite intuitive. You can spend time playing around, checking, reading. It's not that complicated. Give yourself maybe half a day, and then get stuck into it and start learning and reading the insights and seeing the insights. let's say on the 1st of August, so in a few days' time, you then change the calendar to 1 July to the 31 July in your Google Analytics, and then you see the insights from the month of July according to your brand, and that's what you add onto your one pager. The same for LinkedIn. LinkedIn is quite a lot easier to get the analytics. If you're an admin, then on the left, you will see your insights and your analytics. Mailchimp, it's very much very easy. If you have a login to Mailchimp, then there's just an analytics tab. So click on it and see, oh wow, they unsubscribed. Oh wow, they visited this link on our newsletter. So that gives you key insights. For example, the open rate. You definitely want a big open rate on your newsletters. And then PR, we recommend NewsClip, and you can really see as soon as your brand is published out in the media, you get an email alert, and they say this was said about you, or this media release was published, so that you then know what is being said about your company out there, and then you can action it accordingly. And yes, repeat, 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 repeat. So these are your 8 steps. I encourage you to take them on and to do them, and you will start seeing these insights, doing the analytics, and being a better marketer and improving your brand. If you need any further help, drop me a line. This week I have a spare few hours as part of the CMSA. I have to mentor as part of my CPD points. So I've got a few hours spare. I'm really happy to have one-on-one chats if you need any help. I've also got an ebook on marketing tips. So that is my presentation in a nutshell. This is my email address. Drop me an email. It's Natalie@pelepele.co.za. So there's lots of E's in Pelepele, and think of the soccer player Pele. There's lots of other words you can think of for Pelepele, red hot chili pepper, etc. But that's my email, Pelepele, lots of E's in it. Drop me a line. I'll be able to just help you and give you a guidance or note here